Council members, I'm going to call us to order for our Bountiful City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, and we are convening our council meeting. I'd like to welcome the public that has joined us for this meeting. Our first order of business is actually a Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Gary Davis if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
On your feet. Please rise and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I always enjoy how you get us on our feet. Next, we will have a thought or a prayer by Councilmember Segura Barr.
I'd like to offer a prayer, if that's appropriate. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before Thee this evening as friends, neighbors, and residents of the good city of Bountiful, grateful for the blessing and privilege it is to live in such a good community with such good people. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to participate in civic discourse. We're grateful for those who offer their time and talents, both on various councils and service organizations throughout our community. We're grateful for their time. We're grateful for the safety and many blessings that we enjoy. We ask for Thy Spirit to be with us here as we discuss and talk about things that affect the people whom are our neighbors and friends, and that we will be wise in our decisions and kind in our discourse. Again, we're grateful for our blessings, and we're grateful for this city and our good nation, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now is the opportunity for public comment. If there are members of the public that would like to offer public comment tonight, we'd invite you to come forward and do so. Just by way of a reminder, we do 10 minutes of public comment at the beginning of each meeting. Comments are limited to 2 minutes each. We ask commenters to, I'm so excited there's a costume coming over here with the wardrobe change. But we ask commenters to share their name and where they live, and of course to be mindful and respectful of all audience members in those comments. With that, we'll go ahead and open the public comment session, and I cannot wait to see what this costume wardrobe change entails.
I had a previous Poke the Bear speech, but I'll go with this instead. Gary Davis, 2814 South Bountiful. Yeah. Okay. This weekend is Amateur Radio Field Day. So, during the fourth full weekend in June, the eyes of the amateur radio community turned towards the annual ARRL Field Day operating event. From its beginning back in the 1930s as an event to test the field preparedness and emergency communications abilities of the burgeoning amateur radio community, Field Day has evolved into the largest on-air operation during the year. In 2025, entries were submitted by 4,373 clubs, groups, and individuals from across the United States and Canada. These entries showed participation by nearly 32,000 individuals, and over 1.2 million contacts were reported during the 24-hour event. Field Day is officially an operating event and not a contest. The purpose remains today, as it did in the beginning, to demonstrate to the public the communications capabilities of the amateur radio community during a simulated disaster situation. Groups from across the continent use Field Day to demonstrate to the public what we can do and what we can provide. At sites from the tundra of Alaska to the sandy beaches of Puerto Rico, I copied that offline. Amateur radio brings together its resources to show officials and government and various agencies what amateur radio can do. It is a time where many aspects of amateur radio come together to highlight our many roles. While some will treat it as a contest, other groups use the opportunity to practice their emergency response capabilities. It is an excellent opportunity to demonstrate amateur radio to the organization that amateur, turn the page, radio might serve in an emergency as well as to the general public. For many clubs, ARRL Field Day is one of the highlights of their annual contest. Contest part is simply contact as many other stations as possible in a 24-hour period. The Bag of Tricks Amateur Radio Club will be open on Saturday, so you're all invited to come down and visit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gary Johnson, 1080 South, 100 East, here in Bountiful City. And I'm the communication arms of the Bountiful Emergency Preparedness Council. And my job with the council is to keep all the radios working. As Gary was saying, we have 12 districts here in the city, and the 12 districts can communicate with the city. And we do it twice or three times a year. The wards and the stakes get together and do it a whole bunch. But I felt that we should, to make this right, I've got something here for the mayor. Since the mayor is an amateur radio operator, I would like to present her with a radio so she can listen to us do our thing. So may I approach?
Please. And I will confess, I have a ham radio license, KB7 LPR.
Okay. Here is your official, put it in there. Here is your official radio.
Ooh.
Is that not cool? And two antennas, so you can listen to it. It's been pre-programmed, so everything will work. So in the bottom underneath here is a list of all the frequencies that are in there. So whenever we have our exercises or whatever, you can listen in.
So this is, I'm hoping, going to come with some technical assistance lessons.
Chinglish. I might not be, proper with thing, but it comes with everything it needs, and it charges with the same thing that you charge your phone with. So you can use that to listen in.
I am certain I will need more than this manual, so I'm hoping for a one-on-one instruction.
Absolutely. You're always welcome by my shack, and you know where it's at. So anyway, thank you very much for all the support and everything you do.
Thank you. I will.
Council, Mayor.
I will try to be a better ham radio.
And on a personal note, thanks for all of the things you did for me the last week, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We value you as a member of our community. Any others that would like to offer public comment tonight? Seeing none, we will close public comment and move on to the council reports, part of our agenda. We always start on the ends. What if we start from the middle? Yeah. Councilmember Child, would you like to start with some council reports for us?
I would, and I've got kind of a big list here. First of all, Lynn Jacobs and Sean Monson retired from our planning commission this past week, and we really appreciate their service. They've been phenomenal, especially as I saw, they took the public through the general plan hearings, so we'll miss their service. On the Service Council side, there are things happening every night right now, and we are grateful for our service clubs, our service committees, volunteers, folks who work really hard to make Bountiful a special place. The Rotary Club just did a fantastic job with Coats for Kids. What a fun event with a great purpose, and we sure appreciate them. We've got, just going down the week, Family Art Night at the Bountiful Davis Art Center. That's tomorrow. Free patriotic project for the whole family, 6 p.m. Let's see. Next, the Farmers Market is opening this Thursday at Town Square. We've got Music in the Park kicking off the Friday concert series with Bountiful's Got Talent. That's this Friday at 7. Saturday, we have the ham radio event just discussed, and also the Jeep Posse Blood Drive. And then the next week, it's even bigger with America 250 activities, which, are you going to report on those? Would you like me to?
I wanted to make sure I thanked our sponsors. Maybe I'll,
Okay. All right. So thank you to everyone who's doing all these amazing things that really make Bountiful a unique and special place. Thanks.
thank you. And thank you for the work of all of those on the Service Council and all of those on the 250 Committee. Councilmember Murray, do you have a council report? How are the mosquitoes?
They're great. They're getting hungry. With that said, don't forget, if you do need your home, your neighborhood sprayed, that is a service that they provide. Go on their website, fill out your information, your address information, when you're going to have your event, or when you need it, and they will schedule you in and show up and spray. We'll be planning a session too with getting someone from our sewer department to come and give us an update in the coming council meetings on all the stuff that's going on down there. There's a lot of amazing technology that's I'm learning that goes into treating our water and getting it back to a standard that can go back out to the Great Salt Lake, which still is unusual to say that, but it's an amazing process. And so with that, nothing else to add.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilman Higginson, any council reports?
Yes, please, if I could, Mayor. Power Commission meeting was this morning. I'm happy to report that the resource report that we got from our planning director was not all bad news. So it's been pretty bleak for a while. There were some positive things, and despite some difficulties that one of the wind projects that we had been interested in, at least looking at, encountering some difficulties, other things seem to be pretty bright, or at least moderate on the resource front. Additionally, you may recall that we had an insulator. Boy, it's interesting that I'm in the profession that I'm in, or the career that I'm in, and I can't think of the word insulator. It's literally what I do. And the insulator that failed up by Echo that caused the fire. Those lines, Alan, have those lines all been inspected now? Or all of those insulators and such? Yes. Yeah. So sections of that transmission line are being upgraded with new insulators and other components, cross arms, and other pieces year by year. And the power department's making good progress in that. It requires subcontractors to come in, oftentimes with helicopters because of the rough terrain, and literally helicopters lifting people and then equipment onto the tops of poles, and then picking them up and taking them to the next set of poles. And that work is proceeding apace, and we're getting good results there. It'll bring some peace of mind to us as we get windstorms in the future that those lines are in as good a condition as they can be. The only other things that I think are noteworthy will be on our agenda a little bit later, and of course Alan will handle those. But I just wanted to update you on those two items.
Thank you for that report.
Yeah.
That'll make potential visit to see that hydro facility even more interesting, having that background. Thank you. All right, we're going to start from the middle and keep going. Councilmember Segar-Bar.
It's not necessarily a report, but I'd like to share a little anecdote, if possible.
Please.
I'd like to share my 11-year-old boy's best day of his life. It started with golf in the morning at Bountiful Ridge Golf Course, which was just, he loved it, and it's just so fun to see all the youth coming out and that wonderful program that is provided for the youth there. And then came home and did some other things, and then he and his friends went on an adventure on their bikes. First to Kiva Juice. All of them had their allowance. They were very excited. So a little bike brigade of 4 boys going down Millbrook Way, and they had Kiva Juice, and then they went on to Lucky Slice, and then they went to Sonic and got ice cream cones, and then they went to Dick's and got sushi. And it just made me smile thinking of the fact that here in this community, it's still an active community, not only with our adult residents, but it's just such a joy to see children running around town. My son just walked here from Bountiful High School down here after a baseball game, and it's just, I'm grateful that we live in such a community that it is safe and walkable with good neighbors who wave to kids as they're walking. And in that same vein, I know that there's been some concern around Main Street with traffic and things, some terrible accidents that have happened and some near misses in other areas of the city. And so with that in mind, just know that our Traffic and Safety Committee, we are doing all we can to keep this as a safe committee, both for our pedestrians and for those who are driving cars. But when I zoom out and look at the community that we live, the fact that I have 5 children who I feel like can just go anywhere in the city, it really speaks to the people who live here and of our law enforcement and just all of the people who work here. So I just thought that was a fun anecdote to share.
Thank you. And I think that's great. Hopefully they were able to make it back up the hill after all the food.
Well, a very kind mom, a kinder mother than myself, went and retrieved them.
All right, well, we are glad, though, that they felt comfortable being out and about in the city and, of course, spending their allowance on local businesses. Yes. Councilmember Bell.
I don't have anything that exciting. But we do have, speaking of a traffic safety committee, we do have one scheduled in early, I think the first week of July, so that will be coming up. And as Councilwoman Barr referred to, we'll be talking about some of the things that have been happening in the city and what can be done. So other than that, nothing else, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have a few things. So the first is to remind the public and the council that the consultants and our neighboring cities will be joining with us to host an open house for the South Davis Greenway project. It is sort of in the vein of some of the active transportation and safety issues that we have been discussing of late. That will be Friday at the 4th North City Park from 6 to 9 p.m. There will be a demonstration that people can see of what exactly a greenway is and how it would impact both the roadways, but also those that might want to be traveling on foot or by bike within Bountiful, but also between our neighboring cities. It is strategically placed in kind of the middle of the project. That's why we get to host in Bountiful. And it is scheduled to begin before our first summer concert, which is Bountiful's Got Talent. That'll start at 7 p.m. at the city park. So hopefully the public can just know to show up a little bit in advance so they can participate. This is a feasibility study at this point, so we're looking at both those cost impacts and then how it would interact within our community. So it's an important phase and step to consider that project. Hopefully we'll see most of the council there Friday night. On the 25th is the next in our fabulous series of Red, White, and Move events. This one is a bike ride. We've been exploring our different trailheads. So at 6 a.m., any hardy souls who want to meet at the North Canyon Trailhead to explore the Mahogany Ridge Trail, that will be the ride. We've been alternating hikes and rides. We had a great ride on, or a great hike this past Saturday where we were exploring Miller Park and the Kenny Creek Trail. And so would invite anyone that is interested, looking at Councilmember Murray to join on that bike ride again, and anyone else who would like to. The next opportunity, we are going to take a little bit of time off from those activities because of the events throughout the week leading up to the 4th of July. So the next of those events will be July 11th, and it will be a hike. And we will be again exploring the North Canyon trailhead. Councilmember Child alluded to the fact that we have a significant week of events coming up the week of the 4th, starting off on June 30th, with some events specifically aimed at some of our senior residents taking place. We've got some really great graphics on the city website and on social media to outline things that are going to range from bingo to chair tai chi and yoga. There are some fabulous prizes like an America 250 special edition, completely sold out now, Minky blanket for America 250. We are going to be having a kids bike parade on July 2nd, which I think will be super fun. On July 3rd, it is our first Friday stroll in conjunction with the farmers market.
Who's the judge? Who are the judges of the bike?
Oh, I should mention who the judges are. This is breaking news. I will be one of them. I'm not the breaking news. The breaking news is that Sam Merrill, NBA star Sam Merrill, Bountiful High alum, will be one of our judges. So, and our bike teams have donated some cool prizes for the kids who decorate their bikes in the various categories. So check that out for the young people in your life. And then, of course, we'll be doing a series of events on the 4th of July, a service project in conjunction with the food pantry, a kids' art yard that is going to be put on by the Bountiful Davis Arts Center. We will be having a concert with the Bountiful Philharmonia. So we really encourage everyone to come down to that. And then, of course, we will have free food for our first 1,000 residents that come. And I did mention I want to shout out some of those sponsors. So 2 of our local grocery stores have donated hot dogs for those events. Dick's and Smith's. Bimbo Bakeries has donated buns. Swire Coca-Cola is ensuring that we will be refreshed with various soda products. Frito-Lay is donating chips, and I believe creamies. We have a donation of creamies. I think we might be buying creamies. So make sure you show up early so you can get one of those free picnic packs to then go enjoy with the Bountiful Philharmonia. And then culminating this week of just intense events, we are encouraging neighborhoods to plan potlucks on July 5th, to gather as neighborhoods, whether it's for a popsicle party or a full-on potluck. If people do not have a neighborhood gathering, they're welcome to join a multi-city group that will be at the North Canyon Park. So there's a lot happening the week of the 4th, and we encourage everyone to take advantage of all of the events, or at least some of the events, because we've had a great committee that has worked to plan those. And then finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we are in a period of high fire danger. It's been a little smoky outside. It's a little smoky in the view behind us. Would urge everyone to be extra thoughtful about how they are choosing to celebrate this year. The city has put in place the restrictions that we are allowed to under state law, and following state law allows us to put restrictions in place in part of the city, but not the complete city. And so would just encourage people to be thoughtful about how they're choosing to celebrate. There are lots of ways that we have prepared and planned for with our Bountiful 250 committee. And then there's lots of other things you can do, from popsicle parties to backyard movies, and hope people will just consider being thoughtful about how they engage so that we don't put any undue stress on our fire service during this very dry and droughty time. So that concludes my reports. And now we'll move on to agenda item number 4, which is consideration of expenditures greater than $1,000 for June 3rd and June 10th. Has the council had an opportunity to review the expenditure report? Also, I wanted to make a note in particular for Councilmember Higginson. They are still printed in portrait. We were working to figure out landscape. It's going to happen. We're going to go back to landscape.
Well, the old ways are the best ways, meaning landscape.
It was one of those that the staff noted and knew that would be important for viewing purposes, and so said I would make sure to mention it's being worked on.
No stress whatsoever. Mayor, I've looked them over with a magnifying glass and would be happy to make a motion that we approve those expenditures as they're printed.
Second.
Appreciate the motion and that thorough review from Councilmember Higginson, and a second from Councilmember Child. We'll call for the vote on the approval of those expenditures. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like even in their tiny font, they pass. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a report that is required under state law, and that is for us to consider approval and to have a public comment period related to the South Davis Metro Fire Service Area proposed tax increase. As the council is aware, Bountiful City is one of the member cities for the fire service area, and so as a member, this is an additional comment period that the public has as related to that process. So with that, I'm going to turn time over to Tyson to walk us through that proposal, and just want to note that our Fire Chief Jeff Larson is here as well if there are any questions for him on that.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You queued that up perfectly for me, Mayor. So just a couple of bits of information. So the South Davis Metro Fire Service Area is proposing a tax increase of 16.21%. This would bring in an additional $1.3 million in revenue for the service district. And with that, if we were to look at a residence with a value of $623,000, this would take the tax on that property from $177.72 to $206.53. The purposes for this proposed tax increase is to increase salaries and benefits to remain competitive, to hire a new position, a deputy fire chief, and then to cover some of the costs of increased operating expenses. So those are the proposed reasons for the tax increase. That's the information that I've been given from the service district, and happy to answer any specific questions about that. I don't have all the details, but as was mentioned, our fire chief would, so we could ask him detailed questions about that. But we would just recommend that the council provide an opportunity for the public to comment on this proposed tax increase, and the legislative body as well can provide comment, and then Mayor Bradshaw can take that back to the fire district.
Okay, council members, I'm going to propose that we open up the public comment period, and then if there are questions that you have or that the public raises, then we can return and ask Tyson or the chief or Gary and I in our capacities in our service with the fire district can provide some commentary if needed. So with that, we'll move to the public comment period. Are there any members of the public that would like to offer any comment on this item related to the South Davis Metro Fire Service Area proposed tax increase?
Gary Davis. I sat through one of the few citizens, I guess, who sat through most of the budget hearings and things with South Davis Metro as well, among the others. These people, I approve the tax increase, okay? I think it's good, yeah, and it's needed. And I just wish that the citizens of this county did not make our fire service earn their pay so much. These folks have been very, very busy, and it's only going to get busier for them. So they are deserving of what this increase would allow them. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Is there any, coming back.
Thank you, Chief, and all your folks for the work they're doing. Please be safe out there.
Thank you. Looks like we have another person who'd like to comment.
Yeah, Ron Mortensen, Bountiful, and I'm a co-founder of Citizens for Tax Fairness, and I'm speaking in that capacity this evening. And as you know, we define tax fairness as the collection of the absolute minimum amount of revenue necessary to fund the core functions of government, and as the effective and efficient management of those funds. We are taking no position on this proposed property tax increase at this time. We look forward to meeting with the chief before the Truth in Taxation hearing on August 3rd to learn more about how the district is funded and to ensure that the tax increase is fair to all of the property taxpayers of South Davis counties and to our first responders. I would note that in 2016, I paid $1.18 in property taxes on my modest home for fire services. In 2017, the fire district was given its own taxing authority, and my fire service property tax at that time went to $51.41, which was a 4,357% increase. In 2025, my fire service area property tax was $115.70, which is a 125% increase over 2017, which is roughly equivalent to 15% a year tax increase every year. These increases are in addition to the revenue the district received from new growth. And so finally, we do have a concern with how the district is governed, since there are no independently elected citizen members on the district's board who can be held directly accountable by the voters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else that would like to offer any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. Council members, do you have any questions? I do want to note, because Bountiful City is not doing a truth and taxation hearing this year, you're seeing in your packet this tax impact statement. This is a new requirement of state law, so this will be something that if we were, that would have been prepared. This is a piece of the legislation that our city manager and I spent a lot of time on this past session. And so this is kind of a new document that is required for any entity going through a truth and taxation hearing in order to give the public the idea of what some of those kind of big items are that revenue generated by the increase would go towards. So, any comments or
I had
questions?
a question,
Sure.
but mostly gratitude for the fire services and what we receive. Really appreciate. This is a crazy time of year. We're grateful for you. I was interested, just because I'm new to this, the frequency of salary adjustments. It looks like it's a substantial one, so it looks like it may have been a while. And I just don't know if how often we do the increases in salaries and benefits. Is that every couple of years? Is it? I'm just not familiar with that process. And I don't know, Mayor, if you are, or if Chief is, or Tyson.
That particular item is likely due majority to the addition of a second deputy fire chief.
I saw the new, below that, there's 238,000 for the new deputy fire chief, but there's above it is the 807,000. That was what I was referring to.
Okay.
Should have been more clear.
Why don't we
on that.
invite our chief to come up, and Gary, if you have any feedback you want to add from the admin committee perspective?
I hope that we do it quite regularly. I guess that would be my hope.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for the invitation to come up and speak to it. So in 2024, 23, I'm sorry, Gary, I can't remember when we did the last increase, we had a significant issue with retention, specifically pertaining to paramedics within the fire service. There was an issue in the Salt Lake Valley where other larger departments were offering lateral transfers for paramedics. And so at that time, we changed our pay scale and moved it down to a 9-step pay scale. So currently, right now, we have a merit increase every year, and then this year, based upon the recommendation, we did a 2.7% COLA increase as well. And roughly about 64%, I believe, of our employees are topped out at that, so they're just getting a COLA only. But the increase in that and that pay scale is structured to maintain us to become, or to maintain the competitiveness within the market.
Yeah, and I just think that's so important to understand that story. We're competing for really the best people to be right here in our community, and we can't keep losing them to other communities because we won't pay. And so appreciate, Chief, you and the group, and thank you for that explanation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gary, do you have any additional perspective you want to add from the admin committee?
Yeah, maybe just a brief one. The admin committee is made up of the city managers of the different cities that belong to the district and are the budget officer. And one of the great things that we've started doing the last few years is being able to, at the beginning of the budget process, give the chief and his staff some idea of what kind of growth we are seeing in our own revenues. That it then impacts the size of assessment that we can afford to do an increase on. One of the unique things about a service district like the fire district is that, unlike a city which sees natural growth in revenue because of sales tax, none of their revenues grow naturally. There's no inflationary growth with sales tax. There's no inflationary growth in the assessments. And so anytime that they have expanding costs, and right now we estimate that just maintaining the salaries and providing the merit increases is about $1 million a year. Is that right, Chief?
Yes, correct.
In order to do that, they have to rely on an increase in either the assessments or the property tax rate. So it's something we spent quite a bit of time discussing, is what works best as a mix between the cities and the district. And we're very comfortable recommending to the council that the property tax increase be considered and approved this year.
Any additional questions or comments from the council?
Our city manager has answered one of my questions, and that is, what was the feeling of the administrative committee? I wondered what the vote and the sentiment among board members was. Also, unanimous support.
It was. As the council is aware, we've had a lot of discussions about kind of an organizational structure and wanting to ensure that we had appropriately thought through that structure related to having a second deputy chief position, to ensure that our new chief had the staff, the senior staff necessary to appropriately carry all of that leadership burden. So that was a key item and had great support. It's obviously not without consideration, recognizing that this is a challenging time for affordability. Residents of all types are feeling the pinch in the cost of all kinds of goods. And so wanting to be thoughtful about what we were asking for, since, as our city manager mentioned, property tax is really the only kind of revenue source that the fire district can rely on, but also wanting to make sure that they can effectively do a very critical job. So it also passed unanimously from the board level.
Perfect. Knowing that from those two groups, I'd be very comfortable with the decision going forward to approve the increase.
Thank you. If there are no additional comments or questions from the board, I would like to propose, because this is a busy time for our fire chief, there is another item at the end of our agenda that I would propose we move up to now, item number 14, so that we can be efficient with his time and make
Great
sure
idea.
that he's out there doing more important things than hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. So if nobody objects, I would propose that we now move to considering approval of Resolution 2026-12, which is a cooperative wildfire system agreement with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, which our City Attorney Brad Jepson will help describe, and of course, our chief is here to supplement and answer any questions as well.
Thanks.
I did prepare the staff report. Chief Larson is the expert on this. I'll defer to him, and I'll answer any questions you guys have that refer to the terms of the agreement, but the background, Chief Larson is much more acquainted with than myself.
Okay, great, thanks, Brad. So just a quick, brief backstory about this. Historically, for the last 10 years, South Davis Metro Fire has carried the agreement, the MOU, and the participation commitment from the state. Is basically, in a nutshell, is what this pertains to, is when or if we have a fire on the urban interface, as soon as our crews arrive, we are going to request, depending obviously on the size and what we're facing, but early on within this process, our initial incident commander are going to request state resources to come and help us with the firefighting efforts. This is going to include hand crews, engine crews, and most importantly, or as importantly, air assets as well from the state and then federal partners. Is what this program says in a nutshell is that we are assessed per incidents, a rolling average of incidents that we have throughout the south end of Davis County. In turn, we do volunteer work. We collect hours on volunteer days, on 9/11 service days, any type of mitigation work. The large project that was done up in Maple Hills, Mueller Park, was that last year? Sorry, last year. We collect all of those hours, and we keep track of those hours and record them based upon a true cost that we are assessed by the state. So this is all good faith work. This is not any monetary factor that we or the cities have to put into it. We just keep track of it. And then in turn, once we delegate that fire to the state resource, then we are covered financially. So the financial burden of that firefighting effort from the state and federal partners is not assessed back to the city under this agreement. This year, currently, our first participating commitment we signed on February 9th, and we were assessed roughly $25,000 for us as a department for all of the city's participation within this agreement. We have roughly about $66,000 left in that fund, and we're allowed to carry that over. Once again, that is based upon in-kind hours and volunteer hours. So we continue to do that. The one piece to this that we were a little bit blindsided with was Gary, city managers of Centerville and also North Salt Lake, received a letter from the state, an email from the state, informing them that they were no longer covered in a part of this participation agreement. Historically, we have carried, as the district, have carried that agreement, and our MOU, our agreement, and the PC has covered that. After looking through some further legislation, it was determined that each of the municipalities that have the urban interface concern, they need to have their own agreement. We will still continue to cover the PC agreement, our MOU agreement, and our agreement with the state. Additionally, they're requiring now each of the municipalities to have an agreement as well. Is that okay to speak that way about that overall picture, Brad?
Yes, that's how I understand it, and we do anticipate having an MOU come before you guys or some sort of memorandum between us and South Davis Fire District. But as far as the entity that's on the hook for that, it is a municipality, and so that's why we are now doing this agreement independently with the Division of Forestry.
Councilmembers, do we have any questions about this? I know that the other cities have been doing this as well. It was a little bit of a switcheroo. I think they hit all cities that they wanted the cities to do it, not through their, those that belong to fire districts. But otherwise, it appears that it's mostly business as usual.
I have one quick question. Is there a max dollar amount in that service hour that you can accrue? Like, You said there's 66,000 left in that, but if more people understood how their contributions in service saved in dollars that would cover us in that situation, maybe more would participate.
Yeah, and my understanding is there is no cap on that dollar amount of hours that we can collect. To be honest, the biggest part of this is just making sure we capture the hours. So that's something that myself and our fire marshal are working on currently now, especially as it hits with the 9/11 service days. We had a lengthy debate on the interpretation of the program, if we could utilize some trails work, volunteer trails hours above Bountiful. If we could somehow try to, I don't want to say manipulate that, but to utilize those hours as well. So we'll continue to work on that and just look at those hours. But historically, we have never had a concern about the amount of volunteer hours that we collect and what our fund shows as it pertains to any of the resources that we need.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmembers, any additional questions?
Mayor, I have one. Oh,
No, go ahead.
Councilmember Child, go ahead. Okay. The fact that the city will be the participating entity now, does that mean the city is exposed to more risk or liability legally from anything that's going to be going on?
According to the state, they would say we were always exposed.
Okay.
And that is why they want to do the agreement with us now, is because we were the backstop. If they didn't follow through, it was us that would be on the line.
Okay.
So we are not any more exposed, but yes, we would be liable if we didn't fulfill our end.
So we were just blissfully ignorant of the fact that we were.
That would be their opinion, yes.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
That was essentially my question. So this seems like it's a change of form, but not function necessarily?
Correct.
Okay.
And just to be clear, council members, it's a tiered system. We have our local fire warden, that's our county fire warden, and then it elevates into the region, and then it goes up to the state. The middle management of that piece, we had worked at length with in assuring that we had satisfied all of the requirements in this. His name is Justin Roach, and I spoke at length. The week before Gary received the email about this, I have email trails showing that Justin said, "Thank you, I've received the documents, you guys are good to go for this year, and we'll all hang in there together." Essentially, that's what the email said. And I was in a command staff meeting with some of our senior leadership and received an email and a text message from one of the other city managers asking me if I could explain how come he just received the email saying that they were no longer covered within this agreement. So as you can imagine, there was nobody that was probably more surprised than myself. I had been told that we had satisfied this, so I apologize for this coming to you guys, initially, well, as we're dealing with it now, but also so late into it. It was not, I believe, an oversight on our part.
Yeah, I think I'll speak for the council and say no apology needed. We're all part of the same team, and we want to just make sure we get it right, and that we can make sure the state will cover us in the event we have an event. Let's totally not have an event. Any additional questions? If not, is the council prepared to entertain adoption of the resolution?
Mayor, I'm happy to make a motion.
Thank you.
I propose
Second.
that
Oh, you got to finish it, sorry. Got too excited.
I propose that we approve resolution number 2026-12, a cooperative wildfire system agreement with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands.
I'll second it now.
And we have a second from Councilmember Murray. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote on the resolution. All in favor of approval of resolution 2026-12, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Chief, you're always welcome to stay for all of our council meetings. We will completely understand if there are more pressing matters that you need to attend to with the fire service. Thank you.
Yeah, and just real quick, just so you guys are aware, I really enjoy the time here and enjoy being here, so thank you for the invitation.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
and thanks for these.
Yeah, and just really quick on a side note, I apologize once again for the delay in getting the annual report. Historically, we like to have those out in February or March. This year was a little bit different, but it was a project that had been started, and I wanted to assure that that project was completed. So once again, I apologize for it. If you guys would like at a later time, I'm more than happy to come back and have an agenda item if that's what needs to happen to discuss it or to answer any questions about the annual report. But once again, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the support.
Thank you. No apologies necessary. We're aware of the challenging circumstances that took place at that time. We appreciate that you wanted to make sure that that happened and that it includes some important memorials. And I know everyone enjoys learning more about the fire service, but we can certainly do that after your busy season is over.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, council members, let's move back to the regular order of our agenda, which we are going to move to our city planner, Francisco Astorga. We're going to consider two items that are combined related to the North Canyon Townhomes PUD, both the plat approval and the architectural and site plan approval. And I am counting on Mr. Astorga to walk us through his two-part agenda item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As indicated, it's a two-part. The first is a preliminary plat approval, and the second is an architectural and site plan review approval at 460 West, 2600 South. If you could turn to page 59 of your packets, that's where the actual proposed plat is located. If you recall, you already looked at this item during your November 2025 meeting, where it was a total of 20 units in the form of 4 5-packs. That's 4 buildings in the form of 5 townhouses. And if you recall, it also had a driveway access that wrapped around the, I guess I'll call it the commercial facility, the Monument, it's Monument Real Estate. I don't have the name of the facility.
Monument Health.
There you go. So after that approval that did take place, the council did approve that site plan as well as the subdivision. The applicant started having issues with that secondary access. And then that's what really triggered the land use code text amendment that we reviewed back in April of this year, where we had and we talked about this earlier slightly, in that we had a duplicate standard found in the land use code that was not consistent with the International Fire Code. Quick example, even though that code amendment was quite lengthy, the code used to say no driveway shall exceed 600 feet without providing a second access, and that language changed to driveway length, fire apparatus access, secondary access requirements, and turnaround design shall comply with the adopted International Fire Code. So we simplified the code in that we felt that we didn't want to follow 2 standards, as we indicated earlier, where the reason why the former approval included that secondary access was because our code indicated that under that 600. And we analyzed the code back in March and April. The Planning Commission looked at that, you looked at that, and you adopted the changes to simply follow the International Fire Code. With that said, going back to this application, this plat never got recorded by the applicant. I'm talking about the one that they worked on in November of last year. And with the change, they were able to add 1 more unit, so now we're looking at 21 townhouses. If you go back to page 59, you'll see that it's, I guess I'll call them 5 buildings in, 4 buildings in the form of 4 townhouses, and then the 5th building with 5. And then obviously, the reason why this is a combo plat is because we also kept the assisted living facility as a lot of record. So Everything else is exactly the same, exactly what we looked at, what you approved. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have for us. We simply have to go through this again because the former layout was simply changed during that final plat approval. The applicant did file a brand-new application, both for a site plan review as well as a plat application. The Planning Commission looked at these two items last week, and they forwarded a positive 6-0 recommendation to you. I'll be more than happy to answer any other questions, and I think John Blocker and company with Brighton Homes are able to answer any questions that you might have for us tonight.
I have a question. Why was the subdivision plat not recorded from that November?
Because they chose not to, in that they had an issue with that secondary access through an internal audit that gets done through the health department, where they literally had the plat and Mylar ready to sign, and Monument Real Estate would not sign it based on that secondary access. And that's what I heard from the applicant. So they were ready to record it, and then they had the issue, and then they came in and applied to change the code.
Okay, thank you. That answers one of my questions. Council members, do you have any other questions on that piece? And while you're contemplating whether you have questions, Francisco, are you looking for separate motions on 6A versus 6B?
Yeah, we've been consistent with separate motions, both for the plat and then for the site plan review.
Mayor, given that it's essentially the same site plan, it meets our city code, the applicant has submitted a new application, I'd be happy to make a motion that we grant subdivision plat approval for the North Canyon Towns PUD as presented.
May I ask a quick
Oh, yeah, sorry.
clarifying question?
We don't have a second, so go ahead.
Just in your description right now, did I hear you say that the record is going to remain that it is an assisted living center, or did I misunderstand that?
No, that's what I said.
Okay,
So no, what I said is that the area for the assisted living facility will be platted separately. So the applicant
Oh.
has the ability
Oh.
to sell the townhouses individually.
I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you. I'm happy to second Councilmember Higginson's motion. If
Okay,
there's
we
no
have a
more
motion
discussion.
and a motion from Councilmember Higginson, a second from Councilmember Segura Bar. I'm just going to pause and ask if there's any discussion to the motion that anyone has. Seeing none, then we'll call for the vote on the subdivision plat approval. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that part passes unanimously. We'll move to 6B, which is the architectural and site plan approval for the North Canyon Towns at 460 West, 2600 South. I would note these aren't on 2600 South because they're just off.
You're correct. However, because it's one big monster lot, that's the current address of the site.
Okay.
I'm happy to make a motion that we approve the architectural and site plan as well.
Do we want Francisco to present it before we make a motion? Just
No, it's
No?
the same thing.
Okay.
I have nothing to add for the site plan.
I'll second that then.
Okay, if there are no questions, we'll move to that motion. So a motion from Councilmember Higginson, a second from Councilmember Bell. Any discussion to the item? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the architectural and site plan approval for the North Canyon Towns at 460 West, 2600 South, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is our presentation of the internal risk assessment for fiscal year -- Our new finance director, David Burgoyne, is going to be presenting this item.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for your time tonight. As the mayor mentioned, I'll be presenting our annual fraud risk assessment. This is a requirement by the state auditor's office that we present, and management's assessment of our internal controls and how we compare to the auditor's risk assessment checklist. This was implemented about 6 years ago by the auditor's office, and basically the high level is they give you a checklist. If you have an internal control that complies with one of their items, you receive points for that. And the assessment's broken down into 5 different categories. You can either be very high risk, high, moderate, low, or very low risk of fraud. The city's been in the practice of monitoring and assessing internal controls and risks, and it's something that we find very important to truly safeguard the city's assets. This has been a practice long before the auditor's office implemented this checklist. Tonight, we're presenting a report similar to what we have in the past several years, that the city falls into the low risk category. And I'm willing to go into more details if the council has any questions on the assessment. We're also presenting a draft policy, a draft ethics policy for city employees and council members. This is one item on the checklist that we previously have not fulfilled. But the purpose of the policy isn't just to check a box and earn 20 more points on the risk assessment. We feel that just having a policy won't really have the intended consequences, so we'd also are going to do a training for all city employees. The current plan is to do that at our October City Employee Connect Training Day. The training is meant to be practical and meaningful and helpful to help all employees understand their expectations, recognize challenges, and act with integrity in real-world situations. That's the report for tonight. There's no action needed by the council, but I'm happy to answer any questions on the assessment or the draft policy.
I have one question. Will we need to be setting up a work session or another opportunity for the council to receive training so that we can meet the same standards and be able to appropriately sign this acknowledgement so we can get the points?
We could do that if the council would like.
I remember doing something similar in the past, or am I remembering something different?
We came a year ago and discussed this policy, this ethics policy with you all, and we believe that discussing the need for ethical behavior is really important, and I think could be done in a way that is fun and useful for the council. I don't think you need that training to sign the document and have us qualify for those points, but if that's something that you're interested in, I think it would be great.
Am I recall, didn't we do something a few years ago?
There are some trainings that we're required to do as elected officials via the state auditor's office that we annually have to do and submit there. So you might be thinking of that training.
No, my mind's playing tricks on me.
I think it's a great idea.
I agree.
I think if the employees are doing it, we are
Yeah.
employees of the city, we should do it too. As long as it's fun and engaging. You promised it could be.
We can be fun and engaging, promise.
All right, I will look forward to a future opportunity for a work session that is fun and engaging about fraud and risk and ethics. Okay, thank you. Okay, we are on to agenda item number 8, which is to consider approval of a firefighter tennis court resurfacing contract. And our Parks Director, Brock Hill, will be presenting this item. I suppose we should have moved this one up, so since it's right next to the fire station. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. I appreciate your time tonight. The tennis courts at the firefighters' park, which is adjacent to the headquarters for the South Davis Metro Fire District, are pretty heavily used. I'm not going to read you all the background. They were installed in 2004, and then since then have basically gone through basic maintenance. We've tried to change nets when needed. We've tried to do what we can with the lighting and with the fencing, and so there's some minor things that we've been doing over time. The surfacing now is to the point where it's got to be replaced. With kids on bikes and kids on scooters and skateboards, it just causes all sorts of damage to the court itself, and so that's what we're looking to have resurfaced. There are some needs for the nets. We do have kids that walk on the nets like tight rope, so that puts some strain on the ends, the posts at the ends of the nets, and bends those and breaks those. Over time, the center attachment right in the middle of the net, it gets pulled out of the ground, and so those things are going to have to be core drilled out and re-cemented in. those are all going to be part of this project as we go through the resurfacing. We went out and we researched 3 groups, 3 companies that do courts. One is Courts Unlimited. You can see there in your notes. The only one that really responded to us was Park and Tennis Courts for $29,000. The others were either we didn't get a response for or were not interested because of busy schedules. Some of the things that we'll have to do, we'll have to take those courts out of service if we don't do something with them within the near future. The nets are to the point where they're not usable. We do have enough use on those courts that, and it typically serves some of our active adult community. We see a lot of those older folks there, and they're just not to the point where they can be used safely. So we would take those out of service if this doesn't happen. Our recommendation as staff to the council is to authorize park staff to enter into a tennis court resurfacing contract with Park and Tennis Courts in the amount of $29,000. And I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. I would note too that I often see one of our local tennis champions, Matt Nadal, practicing at those courts. So,
And he asked me to ask a question.
ooh, and he asked you this question. I was gonna say, he's been playing at a very high level.
Yes.
Internationally, so we know those courts are training good champions.
I was with him on Sunday, and he asked, if approved, how soon will that all be done?
We hope to get them started within 2 weeks, is what I understand.
Well, he'll be happy.
Yeah, like I said, I've noted our local tennis champ on those courts many times, so I know they're important. Any other questions, council members, for Brock?
Just a budget question, Mayor.
Go
Does
ahead.
does this come out of the budget year we're about to finish, or does this come out of the next year's budget, or?
It is budgeted for in this year's
This current.
capital improvement, and it has been part of that capital, the 10-year, and it's just gradually moved up through the years. We have, at times, kind of bumped that back because there's been more pressing needs, but now here we are, so,
Thank
So
you.
it'll come out of the fiscal year '26.
correct.
So we're gonna spend that in 7 days.
Well, that is to say, it's budgeted now. If we're not able to get it done by the end of the fiscal year, which looks unlikely, what we would do is just move those funds forward to next fiscal year.
Does that involve opening budgets, or how does that
We have sufficient budgeted
take care of it?
to take care of it, yeah.
Any additional questions?
We just prepay.
Do we have a motion to approve this procurement?
I'll make a motion to approve the resurfacing of the tennis courts.
Thought you were done.
Second.
Second. Oh, now I missed it.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Murray to approve the resurfacing of the firefighter park tennis courts, and I'm going to give that second to Councilmember Segura Bar.
Thank you.
That
Got a
was,
bit of a volley.
well, it was,
Awesome.
it was like a penalty shot. I stalled for just a second. And,
Like a foot falls on the line.
yeah,
I think you set her up and she smashed it.
yeah.
I think we've
Lot
got
of
room for
love
2
in
more
the
tennis
room.
puns. Have we got them?
Mayor, would you please take a look at Councilmember Child's phone?
I'm excited about what I see there.
Thank you. I don't know if you want to make a preliminary announcement.
I'll just note for the public that the polls have officially closed and election results have started to post.
Thank you.
And we're smiling.
So, without any more discussion of tennis puns, we have a motion and a second to approve this procurement. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? It looks like we are approved.
Thanks,
Brock, you are up next. So we're going to be switching from tennis to golf.
Yeah.
So tell us about your plans for the 80 club golf carts and 4 golf club carry-on utility carts.
Okay. You'll have to forgive me. Typically, I print one out. I printed 2 of the tennis courts, so I'm going to be using my phone for that reason. Can I use yours?
We have read it.
I don't care for phones, so I do everything I can to avoid them. Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The golf course has a fleet of 81 carts. In the past, it's been that we've always changed a couple of those carts, typically 12, and we'd get 12 new ones as we cycle through that process. That's been the practice up until about 9 years ago when we bought a full fleet. At that time, we didn't have sufficient funds in the golf reserves to outright purchase those carts. That's what we're coming to with you tonight. A little bit of a change for us up at the golf course, and this was done in cooperation with the finance department, and Mr. David Burgoyne helped us with this and saving the city some dollars, that we purchased these outright. With the staff that we have up there in the maintenance building, we've been able to maintain that fleet of carts for our 9th season. We're in our 9th season on those carts. Industry standards 5 to 6 before you start turning those carts over. With this purchase, we will trade in the existing fleet of 81 carts and get 80 new carts with 4 new utility carts that will be used by the golf course maintenance folks. That's a little bit different for us. Typically, we've leased those and then done a trade-in and at the end of that lease, and then keep them for another 2 to 3 years. With this purchase, we're going to save the city approximately $53,000 over the life of that, what would have been a lease, as opposed to what we're doing now with an outright purchase. Some of the things that we were up against and why we're so late in the season on this is we're up against some delivery times with the cart fleet availability in the new year. These will be a 2026 model as opposed to a 2027 model. That way we're getting a little bit better price. They still are brand new carts, and then we'll get them all shipped into us as soon as they're available to us. If we miss this window, we're out till end of August, September before we can get those carts. So we did go out and we got some bids. We reached out to 3 companies. You can see there on the report that Intermountain Golf Cart was one of those at $456,400. And that's with the trades on the current fleet. RMT did not respond to us, and then Highland Golf gave us a bid for $586,628. Staff recommends that the council authorize Bountiful Ridge Golf Course to enter into a purchase agreement with Intermountain Golf Cars, Inc. for 80 club car golf carts and 4 club car carry-all utility carts for the purchase price of $456,400. And I'll answer any questions you might have.
Mayor, I have one.
Please go ahead.
I was up there carefully inspecting those this afternoon, very carefully. And they are looking old at this time. I had a question on the new ones that we're talking about. You kind of mentioned the date a little bit. So you're kind of thinking in the next 45 days, maybe we would have access to new carts. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct, yes.
Will they have any sort of electronic, I know they're gas-powered, but will they have any sort of meters, not meters, range finders that, distance things for each hole? Will they have that kind of technology or not?
They will not. We opted out of that option. It added about $90,000 to the purchase price. Our philosophy up there is most golfers have a rangefinder that they pull out of their pocket. Even though it's telling them on the cart what it is, they're still going to pull it. And so we opted out not to purchase that.
That was probably it, and I'm happy to make a motion unless there's other questions.
I just want to pause for a moment and just see if Councilmember Murray has any questions. And I particularly was interested to know if he's okay with the model year.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
As long as the governor's off it, I'm great.
Not yours.
I note that you, had some favorite carts, so.
That list has changed, but cart 6 is still the fastest.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions that you have for Brock on this item? Thanks to you, thanks to David for looking for ways to be thoughtful with resources and save. This is an enterprise fund, so this is saving the golf participants money since those fees fund the operations, but looking for a way to be economical. So thank you.
Yeah. Amen.
With that, council members are ready to entertain a motion.
Okay. I am happy to make a motion to accept staff's recommendation to enter into a contract for $456,400 for, and trade in the old units with Intermountain Golf Cars, Inc.
So a motion from Councilmember Bell. Do we have a motion for a second, Councilmember? Oh, I thought for sure Councilmember Murray was going to go there.
I saw them go off mute, so I was.
Okay, so our second is from Councilmember Higginson. All in favor of approval of the purchase of the golf carts, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Look forward to trying those out and receiving recommendations about which one's the fastest.
Thank you.
Next, we have a series of items from the Power Department, so we'll invite Alan Johnson to come up and walk us through those items.
Yes, Mayor and Council, it's an honor to be here tonight to discuss these items. As it was discussed a little bit earlier, we did have Power Commission this morning, and all these items were unanimously approved, but we'll step through it. The first one we have is the purchase of a transformer. And this transformer will basically be one that will be put back for our inventory, but the reason why we're using it is Viewmont is upgrading their service, so we'll be taking one out of our inventory to do that, so we need to order a second one to have in our stock. We typically like to keep 2 transformers, so if we have a failure or at the same time we're coming in, we've always got a spare. You'll notice that the transformer deliveries, which we've been up to a year, have come in better on this one. We're only looking at 15 weeks, which is still several months, but it's not the year delivery. I'll just point out the cost hasn't come down on items, but some of the deliveries are starting to look just a little bit better right now, or at least at this time. So we did go out and get quotes from 2 suppliers for this transformer. It'd be the Power Commission staff's recommendation that we take the low bid from Annixter for the GE Prolec transformer for $37,701. Again, this will be placed into inventory, and then, like I say, we'll pull one out of inventory to upgrade the service at Viewmont. So.
Councilors, any questions for Alan on this item? If not, is anyone prepared to make a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I think he got beat, so we'll give it to Councilmember Segura-Barr for the motion and a second from Councilmember Higginson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, the next item I have is one that we all like to talk about, our butt-treated poles. And like I say, as we had a discussion this morning as to why we do them, as a reminder, is because we do have most of our poles in backyards, and our linemen do have to climb them. And, as was pointed out, those spikes only go in about 1/4 of an inch. If you get the fully treated ones, they become like concrete, and it's hard, and we have people can slide off them. It's not a safe thing. But there was also a discussion as to why we're seeing so many come before you, and we point out it's a single supplier, but like everything else, the cost has gone up. There was a question, what has it gone up? And it says, if you look back in the last 8 years, the price has almost doubled. And as I was pointing out before, we could get a truckload in that stayed within the $20,000 approval that I have as a department head. As you see now, a truckload is coming in, so we will be probably coming to you a couple of times a year to buy them. We'll be buying them here. We'll be through the summer months, both underground and pole adjustments. And then we typically want to build our inventory up as fall comes in before we get our infamous canyon winds that come through and make sure we got a decent supply. So it would be the Power Commission staff's recommendation that we approve Stella Jones for this 46 power poles for $52,117.
Councilmembers, any questions about our favorite butt-treated poles?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Did they squirrel treat the poles too?
Or say that again?
Did they squirrel treat the poles?
You know, that would be nice if we could do that, if we could do some way to, you know, I'll say outages slowed down for a while, but we're back to having 1 or 2 outages a day with squirrels, and they're just everywhere. So, but no, unfortunately, these poles or the fully treated ones, the squirrels can go right up and down without a problem, so.
Too bad. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Councilmember Child. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilmember Bell. All in favor of approval of the purchase of the 46 power poles from Stella Jones?
Yes, 46 poles.
Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like they are approved. So we are moving to your final item, which is consideration of a proposal from ECI for the Echo Hydro Control System replacement.
I think I have one right before that, don't I, Mayor, for the Acusonic flow meter?
Oh, I got super excited about getting close to the end of the agenda. It's fine if you want to present on the purchase of the flow meter from Acusonic.
Well, I will.
We'll go backwards.
I will lump them both together. Both of these purchases are for our Echo hydroelectric project and controls. The controls on the hydro, they've been involved since 1986 when it was put in. We've done some work on it, but they've been outdated. As we start working in to upgrade it, we've gone out to work with the same company that we've just got Pine View's controls all rebuilt, which I will say that we did get that unit running early this week, so all the new controls in it is running. And they did a great job. We had a big issue was trying to get enough water to be able to open and close the valves far enough to be able to time the gates. Once we got to the point of that, it came through really quick, and we do have the unit up and running. So this is, we went out a fairly extensive look a year ago, and I've got several quotes. I mean, the first quote that we had on, I'll kind of mix the two together, I'm sorry, was about $4.5 million for the control upgrade. So this price, even though it's high, is still a much better price, and this company did a great job, and like I say, the program and everything be tied together. But the one on the Acusonic, is the flow meters, and this is what you'll actually monitor the flow they're coming out, and this will control what the hydroelectric unit does put out. It's approved by the Bureau. It's the same type that we have at Pine View. It's the same time the Bureau uses. So it'd be the Power Commission staff's recommendation that we approve to purchase 3 ultrasonic flow meters to measure the water for Echo for the total of $363,821. And again, this equipment will be installed sometime October 15-ish when they shut the water down and we can de-waterize it and go ahead and install it in the equipment.
You don't think you can de-water it like, say, next week?
Well, we very likely.
Not a serious question.
The latest I'm hearing, I had anticipated that our hydro would be through this year sometime shortly after the 4th of July. But they're dropping a lot of water up or down, lower to keep us going. Their new prediction is going to put us through the end of July. So we should have water to operate, but they will continue letting water out of the dam below what we can generate at sometime, I'll say until September, but their water year ends in October. So.
Thank you. Councilmembers, any questions about the flow meter from Acusonic, or is anyone prepared to make a motion?
Can I combine the two as Mr. Johnson did?
Unless our city attorney gives us a hairy eyeball, I think you can.
Okay.
You say a hairy eyeball?
Since both items were presented, first of all, I'd like to tell you a little story. The Paris, Idaho Tabernacle, when it was originally built, was built for $40,000. You've probably seen it. It's gorgeous. Beautiful monument to pioneer craftsmanship. 50 years later, the roof was replaced for $40,000. And another 50 years after that, they installed a screen so they could watch conference for another $40,000. As we were going over the numbers for the Echo Hydro project today, it's just interesting that we're spending as much on meters and controls as we spent to build the entire project. So another 50 years in the future, they'll probably spend $3 million on a door. Another small feature of the project. Anyway, it's just interesting how those prices, how money buys so much less as you move forward, and yet this is still going to be a blessing as a resource to us going forward for a lot of years.
Thank you, and thank you for the geographic pioneer history lesson.
Absolutely. With that less than interesting and well-received story, I will make a motion that we approve both of those purchases for a total price of $2,879,761.
Second. Oh, give it to
Wow, we are racing to seconds today. It's so great. So we have a motion from Councilmember Higginson. We have a second from Councilmember Segura Barr. Our city attorney did not raise a hairy eyeball about combining those items, so I will call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Council, I think we've concluded our work. I know that we are all looking forward to checking in on the election results of the primary and the outcome of one of our former dear colleagues in her race for county commission. So let's hope that those positive results continue to trend and that we are inviting her back at some point soon in an official capacity.
Yeah.
With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Looks like we are adjourned.